Good afternoon po. This is the continuation of my report related to the group data. So lahat po ng present natin before is related to ungroup data. So let's look at the measures of central tendency and some portions of measures of variation na ginagamitan din po kapag ang ating data ay into a group. So this is the group data procedure table for the mean. So we have step 1. So meron po tayo dapat na ginagawang columns related doon sa binigay na sa ating data set or yung sa ating data in question. So meron po tayong class, frequency, the midpoint, and the product of the frequency and the midpoint. We find the midpoints of each class and place them in column C. Step 3, we multiply the frequency by the midpoint of each class and place the product in column D. We find the sum of column D and then we divide the sum obtained in column D by the sum of the frequencies obtained in column B. So the formula for the mean is the x bar is equal to the summation of f, yung frequency, multiplied to the midpoint divided by n. So tingnan na lang po natin yung example para mas madali natin siyang maintindihan. So ito po yung tinatawag nating group data because naka-interval po yung data. Hindi katulad noong previous illustration na ang data lang ay isang whole number like 2, 10, 14, 19, 248 and so on. So dito po ay merong boundaries, kumbaga. So ito yung class boundaries na binigay doon uh, sa problem or pwedeng sa research kasi natin ay merong naka-class po yung data natin. So, meron tayong frequency po dito. So, this is a frequency distribution for the salaries in millions for a specific year of the top 25 CEOs in the United States. So, this is from the S&P Capital. So, we find the mean. So, paano natin kukunin yung mean kapag ang ating data ay naka-group? So, ito pong frequency na tinutukoy dito, ang ibig sabihin lang nito ay for 15.5 to 20.5 ay 13 po ang number of items na merong ganoon. So kung yan ay score, halimbawa, ay 6 ang nakakuha ng score na nandoon sa bracket or interval na yon. So ang total po nito is 25. So that would be your n. So kailangan daw po nating mag-provide ng columns for class, frequency, the midpoint denoted as x sub m, and the D is the product of the frequency and the midpoint. So 13, 6, 4, 1, and so on. Okay, the question now is how do we get the midpoint for each class? So kapag po midpoint, this is the lower value plus the upper value divided by 2. So in this case, 15.5 plus 20.5 divided by 2, yun po ay 18. Kaya 18 po ang midpoint nung unang class boundary. Yung susunod, 20.5 plus 25.5 divided by 2, that is 23. And so on. So, ganun lang po yung gagawin natin to get the midpoint for each class boundary or for each interval. Next, yung column ng frequency multiplied to the midpoint, 13 times 18, 6 times 23, 4 times 28, and so on. So, ito po yan. 234, 138, 112, 33, and 38. So, yan po. 1 times 38 is 38. So, ano po ang kailangan natin kunin lang dito is the summation of ito pong product ng frequency at ng midpoint. So, that is 555. So, i-add lang po natin itong column D. So, that is 555. So, 555 is gamitin na po natin yung ibinigay sa ating formula. Yung summation ng F times the midpoint divided by N. Yung N po natin is 25. So, therefore, 555 divided by 25 is 22.2 million. That would be the mean for this group data. 22.2 million. Ayan, okay. Okay, let's proceed with the group data for this is the mean. So this is for your median. So paano naman daw po kapag group data po siya, merong interval or merong bracket at median yung hinahanap, paano natin makukuha yung gitna o yung tinatawag na median class kapag group data. So, meron po halimbawa, ito po yung mark nila o yung grade 0 to 10, 10 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 80, and then 80 to 90. So, meron number of students. So, this is your frequency. So, ito yung number of students na nakakuha ng ganong score. So, ayan po. Okay. So, what is ang total po ng ating frequency is 8 plus 20 plus 36 plus 24 plus 12 is 100. So, yun po yung N natin. The number of, yung frequency o yung number of respondents or students na nandito sa problem. Okay. So, 100 po. Yan. So, kapag group data po at median, kailangan po nating kuhanin yung cumulative frequency. So, when we say cumulative frequency, this is the summation of yung mga frequency including yung preceding frequency. So, in this case po, halimbawa, yung 0 to 10, 8. Yung 10 to 30 is 8 plus 20. So, ito yung cumulative frequency. Ibig sabihin po nito, yung from 0 to 30, 28 po ang cumulative frequency. So, 28 plus 36 is 64. 64 plus 24 is 88. 88 plus 12 is 100. So, yun po siya, yung cumulative frequency natin. So, ano ang po ang gamit ng cumulative frequency? Bakit kailangan natin pa siyang computein? Because important po ito para makita po natin kung nasaan yung median class na tinatawag. Kasi dun sa median class, dun pa lang natin makikita yung pinaka-median talaga natin. So, how do we get the median class? Okay, the rule po is that yung N po natin, the capital N, yung 100, di ba po, ang kapag median, ay dinidivide lang naman po natin yan ng 2 para makuha natin yung gitna. So, 100 divided by 2 is 50. So, 50 po yung ating dapat na median. Kaya lang, because of this group data, hindi natin ma-identify kung nasaan po yung value na yon. So, paano ang gagawin po natin? According to Bluman, the author of the elementary statistics, kailangan ang rule lang daw po, kung ang median na nakuha mo when you compute 100 divided by 2 is 50, ang kailangang tingnan natin is the cumulative frequency. So, yung cumulative frequency na mas mataas sa kanya, yung unang cumulative frequency na mas mataas doon sa 50, yun daw po ang median class. So, in this case, asan po yung cumulative frequency na mas mataas agad sa kanya? Yung susunod sa kanya, 64. So, ito daw, using that rule, ito po yung ating median class, yung 30 to 60. So, kung ang tanong po is the median class, ang sagot is the 30 to 60 mark. Pero kung kailangan pa po natin hanapin yung mismong median doon sa loob ng median class, kailangan po natin gamitin yung formula na ito. The median is equal to L. Yung L po is the lower limit of the median class. Then, yung F po na malaki, is the cumulative frequency immediately preceding. Ibig sabihin, yung cumulative frequency bago yung cumulative frequency ng median class. Tapos yung small f naman po, that is the frequency of the median class. Yung h naman po is the width of the median class, or in some books, tinatawag po siyang the size of the interval. The size of the interval. So, isa-isahin na lang po natin muna. I-substitute natin dito sa ating formula. Yung L po is the lower limit of the median class. So, 30 to 60, asa ng lower limit yung 30. Kaya po siya 30 dyan. Plus, N is 100 divided by 2 minus yung F, yung cumulative frequency immediately preceding. So, 64 yung cumulative frequency ng median class. Ang immediately preceding na cumulative frequency is 28. Kaya po 28 ito. Divided by the frequency, yung small f is the frequency of the median class. Asan yon? Ito pong 36. Yung frequency ng median class. Remember, yung frequency po, not the cumulative frequency. 36 Then, you multiply to the width. Paano ma-determine po yung width of the median class or yung size of the interval? Makikita nyo po yun lang dito sa mismong median class natin. So 30 to 60, ibig sabihin po, ang size niyan is from 30, so magbilang po tayo, 31, 32, 33, hanggang 60 po, yun ay 30 ang interval. Kaya siya 30 po dito. So substituting using the formula, we will get the median for this group data, 48.33. So ito na po yung median natin. Kung ang tinatanong is the exact median, this would be 48.33. Okay. Ngayon po, ang analysis po natin dito ay bakit yung median ay 48.33, siya ay hindi siya nakagitna doon sa 30 to 60 at parang siya ay mas malapit doon sa 60, yung upper limit noong median class. Ang reason po dito is pag tiningnan po natin yung frequency o yung answers doon yung mga respondents, makikita po natin na yung upper class, itong 24 at 12, yan po ay 36. Ito pong lower ay yung 8 plus 20 is 28. Makikita po natin na mas mataas yung nandito. Mas marami yung nandito sa bandang upper portion. So, ibig sabihin po, hinihila niya yung median, kaya mas malapit yung 48.33 doon sa 60 na upper limit ng ating median class. So I hope that clear out some items. So let's move to the group data for the mode. So for the mode naman po, same ang scenario under the median class. Merong modal class po na tinatawag and meron tayong formula po na sinusunod. The L is the lower limit of the modal class. The Fm is the frequency of the modal class. F1 is the frequency of the last preceding the mode of the class preceding the modal class. F2 is the frequency of class succeeding o yung susunod dun sa modal class, and H is the width or the interval o the size of the interval. So tingnan na lang po natin yung example para mas madali. So ito po yung ating group data, ito po yung ating frequency. Okay. Under the rule, 'di ba po kapag mode, this is the yung data that occurs most often in the data set. So in this case po, makikita natin na sa frequency pa lang ay pinakamataas na po yung studying time na 10.5 to 10 to 20.5. So ibig sabihin, ito po yung ating modal class. So kung modal class po tinatanong, ito na agad yung sagot, the 10.5 to 20.5. But the question is, baka ipahanap sa atin yung exact mode doon sa mismong modal class, kailangan po natin gamitin yung formula na in-illustrate ko po kanina. So, substituting yung L, the lower limit of the modal class is 10.5. Yung Fm is the frequency of the modal class, that is 10. Okay? Then, yung F1 is the modal class immediately preceding. So, 2. Yung substitute lang po natin sa formula na yan, and then we will get the mode 17.167. 17.167. So, ganun lang naman po yung ano niya. So, ito pong width o yung H po is 10 is because pagbilang po tayo 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 13.5 hanggang 20.5, that would be 10 yung width po. Yung width o yung size ng interval. Okay. Ayan, okay po. Let's proceed now with the group data for the measures of variation, such as the variance and the standard deviation. So kung matatandaan po natin, yung variance, yung standard deviation and variance are directly connected. So kapag na-compute po natin yung variance, yung square root lang naman po nung variance is the standard deviation. So mas madali po if we use yung mismong formula na ng standard deviation. Kasi yung square root lang naman ang pinagkaiba po nila. So ito po yung formula ng standard deviation as indicated So, yan po ay summation ng n sub I times the m sub I minus yung mu raised to 2 divided by yung n minus 1. So, yung n sub I po is the frequency of the group, mi is the midpoint of the group, mu is the mean, n is the total sample size. So, halimbawa po, ito po yung ating group data. Ito po yung frequency niya. Ngayon, yung midpoint po, how do we get the midpoint? Diba, ito po yung kanina natin, the lower limit plus the upper limit divided by 2. So, 5.5. So, dito naman po, 11 plus 20 divided by 2 is 15.5 and so on. So, yan po yung ating midpoint. So, kailangan lang po natin ng column for the frequency multiply to your midpoint. Yung m times n. So, 2 times 5.5 is 11, 7 times 15.5 is 108.5 and so on. Okay, next, yung atin pong mean, denoted as this, yung mu po natin. So, mu po yung ginamit niya dito, simply based on the sample, ito ay yung population mean po ito kasi as we already explained, yung paggamit ng mu is connected to the nature of the data kung yan ay population or sample. So, okay, paano pong makompute itong mean? Ito na po yung diniscuss ko kanina. Diba? Yung dito po sa item na ito. Yung meron po tayong formula dyan, yung summation ng f times the midpoint divided by n. Dahil group data pa rin naman po ito. So, ang makukuha po nating mean dyan for the entire is 22.89. Ngayon, yung midpoint po natin minus the mean. So, 5.5 minus 22.89 is negative 17.39. 15.5 minus 22.89 is negative 7.39 and so on. Next, kailangan po natin yung squared value nung midpoint minus the mean. So, yung 17.39 squared is 302.41. Negative 7.39 squared is 54.61 and so on. Next, yun pong yung squared values po ng midpoint minus the mean multiply to your frequency. So, 2 times 302.41 is 604.82 and so on. 7 times 54.61 is 382.28 and so on. So, bakit kailangan i-plot po siya mismo dito sa ating columns? Bakit kailangan i-identify na doon sa columns? Kasi mas madali po na i-plot natin kapag nandito na siya sa tabulation. Kung titingnan po natin dito, yung formula ng standard deviation is the summation of the n multiplied to the quantity of the midpoint minus the mean squared. So, ito na po yun. So, i-total lang po natin itong 604.82, 382.28, 68.12, 477.04, and 511.21. Ayan po yan, makikita nyo dito sa ating solution. You divide it to n minus 1. So, yung n po natin, yung total frequency, the total sample size. So, 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 10 is 19, plus 3 is 22, plus 1 is 23, minus 1, kaya po siya 22. And the square root po nun would be your standard deviation, 9.6377. Ngayon, kung yung variance po is walang square root. So, yung variance, yung mismong division niya, wala pang square root, yun po yung variance natin. At kung square root na po natin yung items, in this problem kasi, ang hinahanap is the standard deviation, kaya diretsong naka-square root na po siya. Kaya 9.6377 ang standard deviation po natin. So, that, I think that clears out things related to the group data sa measures of central tendency and measures of variation. So, yung unang item po ay ungroup at ito pong additional discussion video is for the group data. So, yun lang po. I think I have already discussed all the items related to descriptive statistics. Thank you.